Thanks a lot for coming in.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Something about this community appeals to you?
This is a wonderful place to live.
For Kelowna Now, this is Kent Mulgat. And we're joined by Myles Mattila of the Kelowna Chiefs of the KIJHL. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're 19 years old, and you've become a self-styled spokesperson on the subject of mental health. So tell us, where did this start? I take it you had an experience with another hockey player who was a friend of yours. Mm-hmm. Try to give us the Coles notes on what happened with this friend of yours.
Yeah, for sure. So where it all started at, a close friend of mine, I would say people would call us a dynamic duo. We were line mates, really got along together quite well, and I would say we were friends on and off the ice. And for me, I saw a little change in himself and how he kind of presented himself in front of me and also the team. Saw little things that no one else did, and a few major factors that I saw. He was taking longer shifts on the ice. He wasn't really being a team player, and just some things like he was always had a smile on his face, very enjoyable person, but kind of seemed like he was isolating himself from everyone else, and including myself. So when I saw that, I took it upon myself to just ask him what was going on. He said, I just having a rough week, everything's fine. So I let it be. Just kind of took it as everyone has rough days here and there, maybe in a week. Then kind of pursued more than that. It was almost 3 weeks, almost a month. So I came up to him again. I said, things just does not seem right. Can you please tell me what's going on? And that's when we kind of got in the conversation of mental health. But at that age of 14, we didn't know what mental health was, but he knew something was wrong. He knew that he was sad all the time. He couldn't really get that smile back on his face. So I kind of took it upon myself to make sure to tell my parents and tell my hockey coach about on what was going on with my friend. And my coach actually took it upon himself, instead of getting educated around mental health and trying to figure out what was going on exactly, he actually kicked him from the hockey team, which could make matters really worse. He's already going through a hard time, almost using hockey as a coping mechanism. But by taking something away from that, from him, and also I was the first person to know what was truly going on, and that was very difficult because he believed in me to kind of keep stuff confidential, so to speak.
Right.
But I did see something that someone didn't need to know before matters got worse.
Right.
So I looked at my hockey coach. I told him what was going on, and he did take it upon himself to kick him off the hockey team.
Right. And I mean, it starts me thinking, in this case, it was so overt. Here's a discussion of mental health, and it isn't dealt with properly, and he's cast from the team. But there must be people all over the place who are misbehaving on teams, and a coach just says, oh, he's a behavior problem, cut him loose. Mm-hmm. Instead of addressing it, like, okay, where is this coming from?
Mm-hmm. For sure, and I think that's where it comes back to is the education around mental health.
Right.
I believe the coach wasn't a bad man by any means. He just possibly wasn't educated around that subject on if a player did approach him on what was going on, you can't just kick him off the hockey team. He loved hockey, used it as a coping mechanism. For me, I grew up, and also played hockey pretty much our whole lives, and by suddenly one thing happened like that and getting kicked off, it's something, it's terrible, and you never want to see something like that happen. And for me, I still can't believe it till this day that it did happen, but that's why I want to bring up this conversation and bring up the awareness around this topic.
Right. So what have you done with the Chiefs to kind of raise the profile of this issue?
I'm very fortunate that I started an initiative called mindright.info up in Prince George. So what it was exactly, it's a platform on where youth or hockey players could go on and kind of get leaned towards the right resources and the proper support platforms to receive the help that they need. Because for me, especially by being a youth, I've noticed that it seems like there's many resources out there. However, if you are struggling, it seems like, where do I go, or who do I talk to, or who could I see about this subject? So what I wanted to do is just eliminate that process and just make it one place to go. If you have any questions, you could go right there. And definitely expanding it more, and very happy and excited that the Chiefs want to implement this program within the hockey program. And we want to use these Kelowna resources. So if players youth or pretty much anyone around that age group, if they are curious by any means and they want to know where to go to, they could go on that website.
Are people going onto this website? Are they using it?
Well, at the moment we're updating it to make sure it's youth friendly.
Right.
We're possibly thinking about expanding it to an app, because a lot of people, especially nowadays, everyone's on social media,
Right.
through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So we need to figure out a platform where it could reach a broader audience, because even for me, I wouldn't really say I go on websites too much, but it is nice to know that there's a website out there, but we do want to expand that a little bit more and take it the next step further.
Right. And I saw a video clip of you addressing the crowd at a Chiefs game.
Yeah, yeah.
Are people receptive to your message?
Well, for me, I've done a few public speeches and a few presentations in front of business people, and I would have to say, by being my age and talking about this conversation, it does attract people's attractions. It gets their attention right away, because sometimes versus a person, nothing against a person, an older person.
If some old fogey like me starts saying, "Watch out for your mental health, kids," it doesn't have the same cachet as someone your age saying, "Hey, I had this raw experience with a friend of mine."
Mm-hmm. And I feel like an experience that people could relate to, especially with youth, and by going into high schools. I've done a presentation last year at Rutland Secondary School for Mental Health Week, and it seemed like right away everyone paid attention. I had a quick 10 to 15 minute speech, and with the feedback from the teachers and the counselors, they really appreciated me coming in, because it was a breath of fresh air, so to speak.
And I heard you actually got to meet the Prime Minister.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Now, how does that happen?
I was very fortunate that Stephen Fuhr, he invited me to come to Ottawa, and we just wanted to meet a few people to discuss the initiatives that I've been doing and the work that I've done in BC, and kind of pulled a few strings. And I actually did end up meeting with Justin Trudeau on May 28th. So I think that was very exciting to have that opportunity.
Yeah. So what is your message? Imagine, as we do this interview right now, that there's a teenager out there that, for whatever reason, has clicked onto this. What do you have to say to them if they are maybe struggling with some mental health issues, or if a good friend is? What's your message to them?
I would have to say mental health does not discriminate. It affects 1 in 5 Canadians in Canada, and it is very crucial to know that you're not alone. It's okay to talk about the subject, and it may seem like you're all by yourself in that moment. However, there's many people that care for you, and there's support resources out there to make sure that you're getting the proper support that is needed to make sure you're looking after yourself.
I think some people don't do that because they feel they'll be bringing shame upon themselves if they reach out and say, "I'm struggling with my mental health." Mm-hmm. So how do you get them over that barrier?
Well, it's great to have days like Bell Let's Talk, for example, and having these celebrities reaching out and sharing their stories on social media. I would say that's definitely a huge step in the right direction. To have days like that, for example, Bell Let's Talk, it gives people a platform and a day to express themselves. I think that is very crucial. I've been participating in Bell Let's Talk for many days, but we need to continue that conversation 364 days out of the year, because that's one day, and we need to continue that conversation for all year.
That makes sense. So just to close the circle on this friend of yours, he ended up getting to play hockey again eventually.
Yeah.
So he bounced back from that bad experience. Anyway.
Yep. Oh, and the thing is it happened at a young age that he could still kind of, not saying that it would, luckily it was a happy ending.
Right.
Because it was pretty much like early interventions. It happened at the age of 14. He knew what was going on, and he could get the proper resources after medication to make sure that he's on the right path. Medication might not be for everyone, but it could be a resource for people to make sure to feel better.
Yeah.
And through that, it was a little bump in the road. However, he was persistent, and he wanted to make sure that he wanted to feel better and kind of look after himself. I think it was very crucial.
And I take it you don't want other young hockey players or other young people like him to have to
Yes.
go through that.
Yes, for sure. With that experience for myself and my friend, it was a very hard time because you never want to see a person reaching out, seeking out for help, and they believe in someone, and kind of see after you tell one person they get kicked off a hockey team. I never imagined that would have happened. For me,
Yeah.
it was very disheartening because I just wanted to help my friend out in any way that I could, and I thought, reach out to my coach. I thought person that I looked up to, and kind of comes back to education around mental health.
And you've gone way beyond that.
Yeah, very fortunate to have to be ambassadors with like a Canadian Mental Health Association, and kind of starting my own initiative called mindright.info. I think through platforms like that is very crucial, but it's the whole idea of getting out there, raising awareness around this topic.
Way to go.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Oh,
Myles
thank you.
Mattila. And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.